The big news yesterday in the liberal media was a court filing in the lawsuit against Fox News by Dominion Voting Machines, who are suing them for $1.6 billion for supposed election fraud claims that Fox News hosts made on air, which were really just asking questions and airing clips from others who had certain suspicions. And so the media is framing this. Oh, because in the filing, there are private text messages between Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and her producers and certain executives at Fox News. So the liberal media is framing it like this. And you got to stay tuned because I will debunk the facts from the fiction and show you what actually is going on here and what Tucker Carlson was actually talking about. Off-air Fox News stars blasted the election fraud claims they peddled. Fox News stars privately bashed the fraud claims the network pushed. No, what really is happening here is privately and publicly, as I will show you, they did blast certain election fraud claims that were bizarre, coming from Sidney Powell, who is a kook. And this wasn't even a secret because Tucker Carlson made those same comments on air and then was attacked by tons of Trump supporters because they were furious that he doubted Sidney Powell. This is from shortly after the episode. Tucker Carlson, time for Sidney Powell to show us her evidence. She concocted some harebrained scheme that involved like half the countries in the world, including Venezuela, who has a toilet paper shortage. So I don't think that they really have the sophistication to be involved in such a scheme. China, on the other hand, okay, so this is, you might remember this, Tucker Carlson pissed off tons of Trump supporters by daring to doubt the kook Sidney Powell. And you'll see in the comments, I'll have pissed off tons of people by calling her a kook, and I called her a kook at the time. Now, after Tucker Carlson did this, then the liberal media is like, oh my God, Tucker Carlson bashed Trump attorney Sidney Powell and his fans are upset. So Washington Times covered that. The New York Times, Tucker Carlson dared question a Trump lawyer. The backlash was quick, talking about the backlash, people being upset. So it wasn't a secret that Tucker Carlson thought that certain claims and questions about election fraud were ridiculous. So this is a total straw man argument. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering what this thing is on the bottom of the screen, that's because you have to pay, and I won't do it, to access the New York Times articles. There's ways to get around it. I just didn't do it this time. Same with this. You get, 2 or 3 free articles, I think, and then they block you, put you behind a paywall. So I'm not going to pay. That's what that is. But you can still see the article in the headline. So the media and the Dominion Voting Machine Company are trying to frame this as if because they privately and publicly bashed certain election fraud claims, that they must not believe any of them, and that all of the questions that people have are completely illegitimate. Oh, there's plenty more to come in this video, so stay tuned. But real quick, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because you won't find analysis like this anywhere else. Where soon I'll take a look at Fox News' request for a summary judgment, their 183-page court document that they filed showing what the Dominion executives were saying in private. In the request for a summary judgment filed by Fox News' attorney, which is basically a request that the judge just throw the case out because it's total garbage. So here in their almost 200-page document, they contain a bunch of evidence that they got from discovery, which is how Dominion got the text messages between Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson. That's the discovery phase of a lawsuit where you have to turn over all of your private communications. And so did Dominion. And so Fox News' lawyers are arguing, discovery in this case has revealed that Dominion's own employees expressed serious concerns about the security of its machines. Mark Beckstrand, a Dominion sales manager, confirmed that other parties, quote, have gotten a hold of Dominion's equipment illicitly in the past. Beckstrand identified specific instances in Georgia and North Carolina and testified that a Dominion machine was, quote, hacked in Michigan. Beckstrand confirmed that these security flaws were reported about in the news in just weeks before the 2020 presidential election. Dominion's Director of Product Strategy and Security, Eric Coomer, acknowledged in private that, quote, our bleep is just riddled with bugs. Indeed, Coomer had been castigating Dominion's failures for years. In 2009, Coomer noted that, quote, our products suck. He lamented that, quote, almost all of Dominion's technological failings were due to our complete effed up installation. And in another instance, he identified a critical bug leading to incorrect results. Just before the 2020 presidential election, HBO aired a documentary called Kill Chain, the cyber war on America's elections, which I have seen, which every American should see. And now that CNN is part of the same conglomerate as HBO, they own the rights to the documentary. They could easily air it on CNN, but they won't, because the documentary casts serious doubts and concerns about the security of electronic voting machines. It's basically part 2 of HBO's Hacking Democracy, which was released in 2006. And so the reason that this was put out, partially because many people were concerned about the potential hacking of the election because they were expecting Donald Trump to win. And then if he did, they were going to point to all of these concerns as evidence that, Russia must have done it and did it to help Donald Trump. Here's a review from trusty Time magazine. This documentary will show you just how fragile our democracy is. Oh, by the way, did I mention that it is a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics? And again, this is going to be used as evidence that the Russians hacked the 2020 election for Donald Trump. And since he, officially lost, now that's dumped down the memory. But here's what Time magazine said about the movie. If you don't want to know how easy it is for a canny individual or a malicious state actor to hack into the electronic voting technology used in the U.S., don't watch Kill Chain. One of the central figures in Kill Chain is election security expert Hari Herstari, who explains with clarity just how vulnerable American electronic voting machines are. Here's a bunch of Democrats raising those same concerns, which are legitimate concerns that anybody, a Democrat or a Republican, an independent, should have. But if you raise these same concerns now, you're called a conspiracy theorist and you can get censored from social media.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
Researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
Wow, not supposed to be talking about this on YouTube, so I disavow. That's a conspiracy theory.
Biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that, a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
These voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these
ban her from social media. We can't be having a member of Congress spread these conspiracy theories, undermining our democracy.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact, 3 companies are controlling this.
It is the individual voting machines that pose some of the greatest risks.
There are a lot of states that are dealing with antiquated machines, right, which are vulnerable to being hacked.
Workers were able to easily hack into an electronic voting machine. It was possible to switch votes.
That can't be true. That can't be true. I never heard that on CNN in the last 2 years.
83% of American voters use voting machines that researchers have found have serious security flaws.
Dominion better add Ron Wyden to their lawsuit against people who are spreading conspiracy theories about them. In a normal society that hasn't been hijacked by communists who control not only the levers of government, but the education system and the media, these claims, these concerns would be investigated endlessly by congressional hearings. But now, again, when you talk about them, if you just have questions, now you're a conspiracy theorist and censored. And sued, really.
You may be wondering what the hell is going on in our country.
Yeah.
There are so many unanswered questions, some of them lingering. How, for example, did senile hermit Joe Biden get 15 million more votes than his former boss, rock star crowd surfer Barack Obama? Results like that would seem to defy the laws of known physics and qualify instead as a miracle. Was the 2020 election a miracle?
You know what, Tucker? In a world where men can become pregnant, Black Lives Matter are peaceful protesters, and Joe Biden is perfectly fit for office, I guess anything can happen. It's also a miracle that my new I Love White People shirt was approved by my t-shirt distributor. So order yours while you can from markdice.com or click the link in the description below because it will probably be banned soon. This coming from a distributor that has rejected, banned, and censored numerous of my beautiful designs over the years. This one slipped through, so get it while you can. And by the way, wear this at your own risk. Don't wear this in public in certain areas. This is kind of just for my black and brown fans who are tired of the systemic anti-whiteism and want to show their support for white people. And it is available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie. And there is a white shirt and a black shirt, but there are two different links. And so you have to go to markdice.com and click one. You can't just get, because the color is different on the print. So it's technically two different listings. And so just whatever you want, because the black one has to have the white design, the white shirt has to have the black writing. So it's two different listings. So if you go to one and you're looking for the other color shirt, just go to the main page on markdice.com and then find the main listing on the homepage. So get them while you can by heading on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.